Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Happiness Journey with Dr. Dan podcast, where every journey is worth living. My name is Dr. Dan, and I'm your host for today's episode. I'm a bilingual neurolinguistic programming and cognitive behavior psychotherapist specializing in anger management issues, both court-appointed and private, marriage counseling using the EFT method, dissociative disorders, narcissistic personality disorders, depression, anxiety, dream analysis, and also provide life, business, and retirement coaching support. I provide individual one-on-one sessions in both French or English, and also do group settings. If you need any assistance, reach out to DMV Therapy and Coaching Services at 301-325-1550, and our website can be found at lifecoachdanamzalai.com. Today, I'm very excited to have for our first episode of season 14, a very special guest and breast cancer survivor, Kim Sorrell. And just like every of my past episode, I will leave it up to the guests to properly introduce themselves, as no one can do a better job. Kim, the floor is yours.
Okay, so Dr. Dan, everything that you do is absolutely incredible. I don't know how you're sane, first of all, and I don't know when you sleep, secondly. But yes, I'm Kim Sorrell, and I am an entrepreneur. I started my first business right out of high school, 18 years old, and have been in business my whole life. I run a nonprofit organization. I'm a mom, a grandma, a dog mom now. I had a puppy, and I a few years ago, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and 4 months later, my husband was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and he passed away 6 weeks after that.
Wow.
And yeah, so my life got rocked.
So 2 weeks after you got diagnosed, your husband got diagnosed. Is that correct?
4 months.
Oh,
4 months.
so
Yeah.
how long did he go through the process of chemotherapy, or was it already stage 4 of cancer?
Oh yeah, it was stage 4, and pancreatic cancer, and there's not a cure for it, and it was everywhere. And chemo, they said, could increase his life, maybe double his life. So if he was going to live 3 months, maybe he'd live 6. But he had one session, and his numbers never got back up to where they needed to be to have any more. So that was it.
So how did you cope, first of all, with your diagnosis? Was it a shock? Did you notice something changing in your body? Did you self-diagnose prior with feeling any lumps or whatever it is? Or you just went to your typical physical and then they found it there?
Well, actually, I went kicking and screaming to a mammogram because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm in my 40s. I just want to make money. There's no breast cancer in my family. Like, why am I doing this? And even when I was there doing the mammogram, these sweet, lovely ladies brought me back into this room and were explaining to me self-exams. And I'm like, yeah, I know. And I'm sorry to waste your time because I don't even know why I'm here. I shouldn't even be here. But then they said, well, we just want to make sure. And so anyway, then the mammogram led to an ultrasound that led to a biopsy. And the entire time I was in denial. I said, there's no way. There's just absolutely no way. And then on a Friday afternoon, got a phone call saying, blah, blah, you have breast cancer. We'll call you on Tuesday.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did they say if it was the beginning stage or it was already percolating inside of you?
They said nothing. They said nothing. That's all they said in the phone call. So I had no idea what to expect, what was going on. I went to the bookstore to try to find something that was either, telling me what to expect or giving me great advice, and everything was either depressing or really medical. And so I started writing because I thought other people are going to want to know what it's like to go through. And yeah, and then things happen, right? So but the first thing I did is I hung up the phone and I called my husband, and he did the exact right thing. So for your listeners, this is what you do. He was home in a flash. I was home when I got the phone call, and he was home so quickly. And when he got home, he just held me. He just held me, and we cried because we had no idea what to expect. But that was the exact right thing to do, just for him to just hold me. That's great.
And then what kind of like treatment did you go through? Was it like chemotherapy? Was it radiation to be able to reduce the size of the lump? What exactly was it?
Yeah, actually, I had a double mastectomy, and I had a man for a plastic surgeon, and he was a little too generous with the reconstruction, I got to say. but take what you can get, I guess. And so I didn't have to go through, my lymph nodes were clean, so I didn't have to go through anything. Well, but they also had no hormone receptors, so I did have to have a complete hysterectomy, and they found bladder cancer when they did that. Yeah, so fortunately they found that. And so got another surgeon in the operating room right then, and were able to take care of what they could take care of, and I'm doing great.
So do you think that the breast cancer spread and attacked your bladder, or it was one or the other?
I think they were two completely different cancers,
Uh,
is what it seems to be, because there wasn't any lymph node involvement at all in my breast cancer. And so for whatever reason, I just got the double whammy.
you got
And
years.
yeah,
Wow. So but then they were able to find it when they did the surgery for the mastectomy.
right. Well, when they did the surgery for the hysterectomy.
On the hysterectomy. Okay. Well,
Right.
so yeah, double whammy, as you can say. So and then after that, how long did it take you to be able to go back to not normal, because you never really get back to normal, but to get back to your activities, etc.?
It took about a year of going through stuff. I kind of put my stuff on hold a bit when my husband was diagnosed.
Okay.
And he started having stomach pains shortly after I was diagnosed. And the doctor said, just take some Tums, take some Rolaids, it's just an upset stomach because of your wife. And then 2 months later, he went to the doctor again, and he said the same thing, but got him into a gastro doctor. So it was quite a process even for him to get diagnosed. But when he was, I just kind of stopped what I needed to do, because I didn't have to do chemo. I had some surgeries ahead of me. I had some other things that I needed to do with both cancers. But I just kind of put everything on hold and just focused on him.
Now, when it comes to for your husband, I mean, obviously pancreatic cancer is more aggressive than breast cancer, especially that there's no cure, there's no radiation or chemotherapy that could really, I would say, expand the lifespan of someone. So how did he cope with the diagnosis? I mean, he knew it was almost the end. I think Steve Jobs, did he have the same type of cancer?
Steve Jobs did. There's a couple different kinds of pancreatic cancer, and Steve's was caught really early. And from what I understand, he could have had surgery, but he opted to do more of a holistic
Correct.
treatment, and then wanted surgery too late.
Yes. Okay. So
Yeah.
so then what type of cancer that was different from Steve Jobs that your husband had?
Well, there's a couple different kinds of pancreatic cancer, and one just more aggressive than the other. And so sometimes you hear about people living a couple years, 3 years even. But it's just I think a less aggressive form, even though it's still aggressive, and it's still not a great diagnosis, no matter what.
Okay. And is it because, I mean, I know that pancreatic is the that deals with the insulin levels, all that. So is it because his lifestyle, was he like eating not properly? What could have caused it? Just comes out of nowhere?
Well, I think a couple things. He was very healthy. He was 6'3", 175 pounds, very active. He took great supplements. He ate really well. His diet was great, although he did often say that donuts were the fifth food group. So that maybe that didn't fit into exactly the healthy lifestyle, but he was very healthy guy.
Oh,
And I have a son who actually decided to go into cancer research after our experiences. And according to him, it's like a chink in the armor, right? Like it's just part of your DNA. And so he just had the chink and had the cancer.
wow. So now, how long did he pass away? How long ago?
14 years.
14 years. Wow. Okay. And when it comes to you, I mean, obviously now, you don't need to worry about the breast cancer part because they removed them and all. But are you more now conducive to having any other type of cancer because of your, because of what you had before?
Well,
Or
cancer is so individual, and there's so many different kinds of cancer, that I don't know that you're necessarily more
Likely to get it again.
yeah, more likely to get another kind of cancer.
Okay.
There are, people that deal with cancer once in their life and they're done.
I see, yes. Because I'm not sure, like, for the breast, it's mostly isolated, unless if it's spread, obviously, because you didn't take it on time. So, what would you encourage, especially some of our listeners that did get diagnosed? What kind of like emotional support can they get to be able to not feel that this is the end?
Well, I think a couple things. One is take the support that comes around you. I think especially as women, we feel like we need to do it all, right? We're wives, we're mothers, we're workers, we're everything. We're the laundry captain and the dinner chef and whatever we are. And so sometimes it can be hard to accept help,
Yes.
but accept the help because you're going to need it for one thing. But secondly, people want to help you. People want to help you, and it helps them to help you. So let people help you, let people in. And secondly, the first thing that happened, people would say to me, gosh, Kim, why you? You do all this nonprofit work, you do this, you do that, why you? And my response was always, why not me? Why would I be immune? I don't think there's a God in heaven who's saying, you stole a pack of gum in 7th grade, so I'm going to give you breast cancer when you're 47 years old. I don't think that happens like that. It happens, and it can happen to anybody, and it happens probably when you least expect it. And so I don't think an attitude of why me is healthy or helpful really in any way.
I mean, you see, the thing is that in life, you would agree or not, Tim, is that, for example, those who are morbidly overweight is because of a lifestyle, the eating habit. So that has direct consequences to what they eat. They will become overweight or morbidly overweight. But when it comes to cancer, you could have a very healthy lifestyle and it's still going to hit you because we're all born with cancer cells. Some of them are dormant up until expiration of the physical body, but others, they just pop up. Look at this kid, and I mean, they're 5-year-old and they have cancer. How can you even wrap your mind around that to be able to even understand how can a toddler or a newborn have cancer? We always associate cancer with a type of lifestyle that we have because we're not healthy, we're not exercising enough, we're smoking, we're drinking. So bang, you're going to get cancer. But some of the healthy people do have it no matter what. So it's hard to be able to kind of accept that fate, especially if you live your life with following or being healthy, being, like exercising every day, not drinking, not smoking. So was it your lifestyle like that? I mean, did you always exercise with your husband, etc., or did you also have your cheating moments?
Well, I do like black licorice. I'll say that.
I'm not sure.
But, but yes, I've always been very active, and always I coached for 25 years. I coached varsity volleyball and basketball, and that keeps you active. And I worked out every day or 5 days a week, I guess, not so much on the weekends. So I tried to be as healthy as I could be. And I think it is just that sort of random that it doesn't necessarily matter what you put into your body. I think it's wise to live a healthy lifestyle, because that's going to help you fight it, right? Because if you are healthy, you're in a healthy place, and going into a cancer diagnosis, the chances of the treatments going better, that everything else going better for you, are just that much greater if you're already healthy, if your body is healthy.
That's really
And
great. Yeah.
so it's wise, very wise to stay as healthy as possible, for sure.
Now, I know that for most women who are going through the breast cancer or any kind of cancer, like especially when it comes to the breast, having a mastectomy, taking what defines a woman out of their body, that also have a very severe psychological effect, where especially a lot of women may not have the money to be able to do reconstructive surgery like you had. So how, it's hard. You basically take away femininity from that individual, and she feels like, okay, she's flat chested and now she feels more like a man. So how do you go and encourage them to be able to either just wait until they could have this reconstructive surgery, and those who can't, what are other options?
Well, insurance pays for it. And so if you're in the situation and they're saying they're not going to pay for it or whatever, there are organizations that will help out. But reconstruction is your choice.
Okay.
You get to pick. And I know women who have said no, just take them off and I'm done. And other women like me who have said no, I still want to, feel more feminine, I guess. And so it's definitely your choice whether you do reconstruction or not. And I think there is a psychological thing. Like when I was going to take the Band-Aids off for the first time, when I was home after everything and after however many days or whatever I was supposed to do, I pictured this Lifetime movie, where it's so dramatic and the woman is going to unveil herself in front of the mirror and then just be devastated because her chest is going to be completely flat and it's just going to be horrible. And so I went in front of the mirror and thought, this is the moment I was going to have. And I didn't, because when I had the double mastectomy, there was a plastic surgeon right in the room, right in the surgical room. And he immediately put in expanders, they're called.
Oh, I see.
So I wasn't completely flat because I had these expanders in. And so I didn't have that Lifetime moment, and that was okay with me to not have it.
But usually the expanders are to stretch the skin. But if the skin was already stretched as itself, so what do you need more expensive expanders to add air to it to stretch the skin, like you would have, let's say, for a facial surgery, whatever it is? So did they just remove also all the skin when they did the mastectomy?
They don't remove all the skin, but they have, the way you get sewn back up and whatever, you do need to expand the skin to get to whatever size it is that you decide to get to. And so it is a process and it does hurt,
Oh yeah,
even though they say, oh no, just a little uncomfortable, sort of like labor, giving birth.
yeah.
But it is painful, but it's painful for a time. And then
How
it's
did they
done.
leave the expanders before they could decide what size to put in?
Well, you go, I think it was weekly or biweekly, and they put in more saline right into the expanders and until you get to the size where you or the doctor, whoever says, yeah, this is the right size. And
Okay.
then they don't expand them anymore and figure out the next steps in surgery, after that's done.
So how long from the surgery till you had your new reconstructive breast put in?
It was several months
So,
because of my husband. So I put it off. I could have had it done sooner, but it was 10 months probably
or 10,
from,
okay. And now,
yeah,
how many kids do you have, Kim?
5.
Five. Oh, wow, that's a big family. How did the kids cope with all this, having one diagnosis after the other with the parents and all that? Were they young at this point? They were like teenagers, and how did they do with those, like, I mean, severe news?
Well, they were all young adults. And so we had just become empty nesters, actually, just a month before I was diagnosed. And we were so looking forward to being empty nesters. And I don't even know why, like if you run naked in the house or what happens when you're an empty nester, but we were looking forward to it. And so all the kids had moved out, and we had a son in the Navy at the time, and and a few kids in school. And they, I don't know, they all kind of coped in their own way, but they all had great friends to lean on. They all had family support, and you just have to deal with it. It's like there are so many things. There are things in life that we don't choose, right? Like, we have no control over. Like, I wouldn't choose to lose my husband. I mean, we were going to be those 95-year-old people on the front porch sipping lemonade, rocking in rockers or whatever 95-year-old people do. And all of a sudden, that at 47 years old, that was gone. That whole dream was gone. And so I wouldn't have chosen that. I wouldn't pick that. I didn't have control over it. I sure wouldn't have picked it. But the things that we do have control over, the things that we can pick, I choose to pick. Like, I choose to be happy. I choose to live fully, to honor my husband. I choose to do best that I can and do the most in this world while I'm here. And my kids had that same attitude, that they're devastated. They lost their dad. And to this day, of course, there are so many things that come up, and they wish their dad was here, and I wish he was here, and the grandbabies started coming. And so that's been hard, because he would have been on cloud 9 with all these kids.
Yes.
And so I think so much of it is a matter of choice. And, another thing that I discovered that I've never heard before and never read before is that service is so healing.
Mhm.
Service is so healing. When I was finally able to go back to work physically, it was like a year and a couple months after I was diagnosed. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I ended up taking a job as part-time bookkeeper for a nonprofit that my father and I had started 10 years before. And this guy was running, and I ran into him and asked him if he needed any help, because people were running my businesses. I didn't have to go there. I could take it slow and figure it out. So I started that year as part-time bookkeeper, and 12 days later, there was an earthquake in Haiti that killed 200,000 people.
Wow.
Within 2 weeks, I was in Haiti, and then I spent at least part of every month in Haiti for the next several years. And it didn't occur to me then, like it occurred to me later, what an